Hello and welcome to BISP Solution. In today's webinar is about Fusion Financial Implementation, in which we will do accounting payables transaction process based on use cases of BISP Group. Let's move to today's agenda. In day 4, the agenda of today is interest invoice configuration and process, then recurring invoice configuration and process, then FBDI supplier conversions. That is bringing the supplier details from legacy data. So how the things are performed in the application we will see in today's session. So let's move to the next slide. As per use case, as per business requirement, with selected supplier or vendor, any delay or overdue payments as per term should attract an interest payable at the rate 3% per annum. So this is the requirement of business user. So what kind of setups basically we had to do in the application to perform so that the interest invoice is created automatically. So let us move to the next slide. The step for interest invoice configuration and process. In the invoice option, we have to enable the create interest invoice, and we have to provide interest expense distribution out there. We have to provide minimum interest amount, and we have to select the interest allocation method. So whether you want to allocate in line to line basis or and the total basis, right? So that is the allocation method. Then the interest rate in payables application, we have to define the interest rate out there from date to date, the range you have to provide, and provide the interest percentage, right? And after that, in the supplier side, we set yes for create interest invoice, right? So these are the configurations we have to do in the application. In our test case related to auto invoice in the accounts payable, we will create an invoice workbench. We will, in the header level, we will select the payment term as immediate so that we can perform the task, and the date should be a prior date, right? So that is the importance. Today's date is there and I am making the payment. It will not attract any interest, and minimum amount should be there. So criteria is also there. More than that certain criteria, the minimum amount should be, say, $2 or $3, whatever there. We will test that particular case, right? So that is the requirement, and we will create a payment in the payments workbench by selecting the vendor or supplier with the current date. The system will create interest amount based on overdue balance, right? So that is the overdue balance, and the term based with the term date, right? So that is the term date with the current date with a defined interest rate thereon, right? So let us now move to the application, how the things to be performed. So first we will go with the configuration. That is, in the invoice option, we will enable the create interest invoice, right? So let us navigate to that. So let me log in with the user credential. So we have login with the user credential. From setting and action, setup and maintenance. Select scope as financials. Invoice option. That is invoice option, and select the business unit as the selected scope. BISP Solution Inc Miami is my business unit. If you scroll down a little bit down out here, you will see interest, right? So that is the interest. I have already enabled that create interest invoice and provided the interest expenses distribution, right? So that is the interest distribution I have already provided, and minimum interest amount I have provided the minimum interest amount, that is $5. It will, since it's a US based and the functional currency is in dollars, right? So that is the $5, minimum $5. Below any $5 is there, it will not create any interest invoice. Now the interest allocation method, the allocation in all invoice line, you want to allocate in all invoice line or a single distribution. So I will select a single distribution out here and save and close. The first step we have done. Now moving to the next setup, that is interest rate, right? So that is interest rate. If I select all interest, the manage interest rate, here we are, manage interest rate is the task. Out here the percentage is 5% as per the requirement of the client, that is 3%, right? So that is 1st of January to 31st December 23, the financial year 23, it is showing 5%. Let me change to 3% as per the requirement of business user. I save and close. Right, so I have done the second setup. Now in the supplier side, I have to set yes to create interest invoice, right? So that is the third configuration related setups we had to do, right? So let us navigate to the procurement and go to the suppliers. Let me, through the task panel, manage suppliers. I have already created a supplier. Let me select the Dell Inc. Here we are. Edit the scene. Go to the sites, right? So go to the sites. Here we are. The BISP Miami. Edit the scene. And go to invoicing. Invoicing tab. Scroll a little bit down. Here we are. Create interest invoice, right? Under the terms, create interest invoices, and my payment term is 2/10/30, right? So that is 2/10/30. By default it will come. I will change that particular thing, right? So that for the test case we will do so, right? So let us create interest invoice, set yes and save and close. And save and close. Now we will navigate to the payables invoice workbench. Let us move to the payables, and out here the invoice workbench. Select the invoice workbench. Let us create our one invoice, right? So let us create that. I will create the invoice with prior date and take the payment term as immediate, right? So that is, let me select, yeah, and select the supplier as Dell Inc, right? So say Dell 50551, that is the invoice, and I am selecting the amount as 85,000 as a standard invoice. I will select as computers, right? So I will select a prior date. Let me select that as this, right? So 1st of August I am selecting, and the payment terms I am selecting as immediate, right? So then only the interest invoice will be get created. As per demonstration, I am using the same. In real world scenario, it will be prior date, that is 2/10/30. It's the date will be the prior date to that. Accordingly, the interest will be calculated. So for the demonstration purpose, I am using the immediate one, right? So, and in the lines level, I will provide the line amount. Let me provide the line amount 85000000, and distribution combination I am providing the same. Let me provide that. Just hold on. Yeah, 201, and the account I am selecting out here. Let me select as computers. So let me select this computer, and the services as 00, and the line of business is 00, and the resources as 00. Let me select the intercompany to 01, and the future as 00. Right, say OK. Here we are. So we have created the invoice with the prior date, and let me save the same. So not validated. Yes, it is not validated. Let me forcefully approve that same. Let me validate the same. Manual approval has been done. Let me validate. Here we are. The validation has been done. Right, so the validation has been done, and the date is 1st of August, right? So payment terms I have changed to immediate, and go to the manage installments. If you go to the manage installments, this is my pay group. This is my pay group, and the method is electronic, right? So let us navigate to the save and close and navigate to the payments, right? So let's navigate to the payments, and payment will be done in today's date, right? So let us create a payment. So create payments. From the task panel, we will select the create payments. I will select the supplier, that is Dell Inc. And select my disbursement bank. This is my bank. Yeah, so currency is defaulted, right? So I will select my payment process method, that is, this is my method, and from here I will select that invoice. Add and select, this is the invoice, $85,000. Apply and OK. The interest is not coming up. I think so the amount we had taken a very less amount, right? So that is why it is not taking up. Let me create a one more invoice with a bigger amount, right? So that is the days are less. Let us now navigate to the again invoice workbench. Let us create a one more invoice with a prior date, more prior date. I will take a Dell Inc. and I will provide the number as INV. Select Dell 78820. Provide us some bigger amount. So I am taking 25000 as the amount. 1 and give the some date related to July. Select the July and select the term as immediate, right? So I am selecting the immediate and out it in the lines. Take it 85,000 itself. It will be calculated at the time frame we have increased. July, right? So take it as this one. That will be a, let me give the term date, right? So select the immediate and I will provide 85,000 and provide the distribution combination, right? Select that. $201, cost center as 00. Then account I will select as computers. Select that. Line of business and resources. Provide the combination. And right, so we have created the same. Let me save the same, validate the same, and let me forcefully approve the invoice. Let me check it out. Here we are. Let us now navigate to the payments. From task panel, we'll create payment. Let me quickly select the supplier, Dell Inc. That is the supplier. And select the disbursement bank. This is my disbursement bank. This is the payment process profile. I have selected that. Let's select that particular invoice. So yeah, this one, we will select that, apply, and OK. See, the interest has been calculated, right? So let's select that and select that this invoice also. Let us select that invoice also, this one also. So you can see the date range, the interest has not been calculated. Out here the interest has been calculated, right? So as soon as we make the payment, the interest invoice will get created, right? So let us save that, and the system will create a one interest invoice with this number, with INT, right? So let us save this. Yeah, so interest invoice has been created. Let me check. Manage payments. Go to the manage payments. Select the today's payment and select the supplier, Dell Inc. Search with that. Here we are, Dell Inc. Search. Open that. The payment number. So paid invoice, go to the paid invoice. You can see this invoice, that the invoice has been created, right? I can select that. It will navigate to the invoice workbench where the interest invoice has been created, right? So this is the invoice, and with the interest of 39 days for 3% at the 3%, right? So that is, it has created interest invoice automatically. System has created interest invoice. So this is how we create interest invoice automatically. System will calculate on delay payments as per the client requirement. We have tested that particular case out here, right? So if I go to the navigate invoice workbench, we can see the same out here. Just recent, go to the recent. So let me navigate. Here we are, same invoice. Open the invoice. It has been validated now, right? So this is how the interest invoice get created, right? So interest of 39%, right? Cancel that. Let's move to the next topic of this webinar, that is recurring invoice, right? So our topic is recurring invoice configuration and process. As per the business requirement, the create recurring invoice based on monthly rent for 9 months as per the rent agreement starting from 1st January 2023. How to create that? In the application, what are the configurations we required for our test case related to recurring invoice in the accounts payable? The first step is to create payables calendar, right? So that is calendar we had to create in the application. Then we will download the recurring invoice ADFDI spreadsheet. It's nothing that application development framework desktop integrator spreadsheet is there. The tool is there, and we will provide the details out there, the fill the required details, and then we can review and submit the same and validate the validate the invoice out in the application and create accounting process in the application also, right? So that we will see in the UI, right? So let us first create payables calendar, right? So that is the first step we had to do. So let us navigate again from setting and action, navigate to the setup and maintenance. In the financial scope, select as calendar, payables calendar, right? So let me search with calendar. There is an accounting calendar as well as the payables calendar, right? So we have created already a accounting calendars. Now in the payables calendar, I will select the payables, functional area is payable. Manage payable calendar. Let me create a one calendar. I have already defined a one calendar. Let me create a one for this demonstration. I will provide the name as BISP rent CL, right? So that is my naming convention I am giving. Same out here. And the calendar type is general, I am selecting, and frequency is monthly, right? So I selected the monthly. And starting period, I will select the starting period, that is as per the use case. The January is my 1st January will be the starting period, and from date to date you can provide. So let me provide the same from date to date, that is January to date is as per the September, right? So you can provide that from date and to date or leave it blank, right? So it will create a calendar. You can provide the same or leave it blank. This is not a mandatory one. The fields mandatory are put in the asterisk. The period, 12 periods will be created. Out here there is no adjusting period, right? So that is 12 period will be there. And generate the period, right? Select the generate the period. So you can see the period has been generated. The 12 periods has been generated with the naming convention as period name as January 23, starting and ending, right? So it has created a 12 periods, right? And save and close. So our calendar is BISP rent calendar. For this demonstration purpose, we have created the same. Now navigate to the invoice workbench in payables work area. From the task panel, create recurring invoices. Select that. Let me download that. Yeah, it get downloaded. Here we are. It will ask for credentials. I will provide the credential. Sign in with the password. So out here, I will select first is business unit. My business unit I have to select out here, and I will select the business unit as BISP. Here we are, BISP Solution Miami, right? I will provide the invoice number, that is, let me select the invoice number as RINV ABC / that's it. And invoice amount I am selecting as, say, $75 out here, and I will select a supplier out here, right? So I have to select the supplier, double click the same. Out here I will select supplier. Let me select the supplier as Dell. No, let me select the supplier as computer, right? So computer advanced is my supplier. Search with that. Here we are. Say OK. Let me provide the other details. Supplier site, double click the same. I will not blank and search the same. Here we are, one site.